Hello Cryptos, fight fans, Gregory Stone, you watch the Crypt Fighting Talk Show. On today's show we have the biggest prospect coming out of the UK. He is Paddy The Baddy Pimblett. Paddy, welcome to the Crypt Fighting Talk Show.
Nice one, fella. Lovely to be on the show.
Awesome. Before we move on to your fight at Cage Warriors 78, I want to talk about Alex Enland. Obviously yesterday it was announced that he's pulled out of his bout at UFC Fight Night, Hamburg. That's roughly, only a few days' time. They've totally scrapped the bout now. I was sort of hoping, I'm assuming many fans were hoping that you'd get the call up and obviously take that with you being in shape for your Cage Warriors bout. Was you hopeful that you'll take that bout and you'll get offered it? And are you a little disappointed that you didn't get it?
I was never taking that bout.
No? Reason?
No one knows that bout could have been offered to me. You never know.
Was it?
I'm not saying yes, and I'm not saying no. But you never know, that fight could have been offered to anyone.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter where there's a fight. If there's a fight in Vegas, I'm not taking it. I'm fighting in Liverpool, fighting in my own crowd, but I'm looking forward to more than anything.
Well, that is a question to be asked there. Say like the bout was offered to you, would you have took it and let down your fans there, or would you have expected your fans to appreciate that you needed to take that step in your career?
No, it's just me, that, know what I mean? I want to put on a show for my home fans, know what I mean? That's just the way I am. I want to have a big send-off before, because I know I'm going to be signed by the UFC. So I want to put a show on for my home fans before I do get signed, and I've got to travel the world to watch me, because it's coming sooner rather than later.
Well, speaking of fans, obviously when I was arranging this interview with you, there was a bit of a troll fan there. He was commenting that basically Graham Boylan, he's feeding you cans, etc. Now we know that you're hooked up to Intensity Management. There, your management team. Graham Boylan is your manager. Obviously, he owns Cage Warriors too. I think it's a nice setup, to be honest with you. I think it gives a platform for fighters to move on to the next stage, and obviously he can basically cut out the middleman instead of dealing with managers and what etc. He can sort of just put his own fighters on there and match them up as he's fit. But I don't personally feel like you've been fed cans, but this fan does. I just wanted to get your response to that, and any fans what are saying that you're being fed cans basically just to get to the UFC.
This is just a divvy on Twitter who's got like 114 followers saying that, because he's probably Irish as well, know what I mean? That's what they always are. They're always Irish, chatting shit, trying to make people laugh, but I'm not arsed, know what I mean? What am I meant to do when Cage Warriors offered this fight to 8 to 10 at the best feathers / lightweight in the country and Europe, and the only person what came back and said to take the fight was Johnny Francis, so I take me hat off to him, you know what I mean? He's the only person what said he'll take the fight. Only one person came back and accepted the fight.
Well, your next fight...
There's nothing I can do about that. That's not on me.
Well, your next fight against Johnny...
Other people are scared.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Your next fight against Johnny is for the Cage Warriors belt. Do you think winning that belt, if you don't get signed by the UFC next, obviously there's a Manchester card, you can possibly get on that. I'll ask you that in a minute. But if you do win this fight against Johnny and you do win the belt, do you think the belt offers up more opponents in the future? Or are you sort of concerned that you might be caught in a little bit of limbo? If you don't get signed by the UFC, if you do stay at Cage Warriors and you are the champion, you might not get opponents. How do you sort of feel after this fight? Is there any concern there that you might be lacking opponents? Because you're on quite momentum at the minute. You got quite a roll going at the minute, full of momentum. So is there a little bit of concern there that you may be sort of just stuck on the shelf due to opponents not wanting to fight you?
No, because I know I'll get signed. And I know I'm going to get signed. I'm not just the biggest prospect in the UK, I'm the biggest prospect in the world. And the biggest draw on any other show apart from the UFC.
That tells me that you've been in contact now. I interview a lot of fighters. I know sort of a lot of what goes on behind the scenes. Now, I'm 100% sure that the UFC have been in contact with Graham Boylan, Intensity Management, and I'm sure they've set a certain amount of goals for you to achieve to get a contract, and I'm assuming behind the scenes you know what you have to meet. I don't really want to ask you that one, but are you confident maybe getting on this Manchester card or being signed early 2017 by the UFC?
No, I've heard the Manchester card's full, to be honest. I'll be expecting Belfast.
Belfast Island?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Johnny Froshy, I don't want to get too technical about this guy because obviously you just go and do your same old thing, fight to fight. You don't really seem to have a set game plan for your opponents. Will it be the same old thing for this fight, same as previous opponents for Johnny Froshy?
Yeah, same old, just training, know what I mean? Don't need nothing specific to fight anyone. Know what I'm going to do anyway. They know what's going to happen, so do I. So all I need to do is put that hard work in when I train beforehand, and it's all day.
Well, I said that because I was watching a lot of footage on you yesterday and the day before, and basically I see key points here is up against the cage. You like to get deep in with your elbows on the double, single legs. You like to, once you get your opponents down against the cage, you like to stack them, put the ground and pound. Very tenacious on the ground against the cage. Basically up against the cage, could be standing on the floor. Very tenacious. Would you say up against the cage?
That's what he said he's going to try and do.
That's what he said he's going to try and do to you, Johnny Froshy?
Is that what he said? Yeah.
No. This is you. I'm talking about your style here.
Oh.
So, is up against the cage, is that the most dangerous area, you would say, that you basically where you're the strongest and your opponent should keep you away from? I know you're quite tenacious during the middle of the cage, but when you get your opponents up against the cage, just your level of intensity, the way you get deep on the doubles, the singles, elbows deep there, and just every time they pulse back up, they do a bit of wall walking there, straight back down, bump them on their ass, leg trips, inside out leg trips, you name it, you got the full bag there. Is up against the cage the most dangerous area you would consider your game?
No, I'd consider anywhere where you're at in the cage is the most dangerous bit of my game.
Well, I asked that because basically when I was watching the footage, it seemed, I don't know if you do this, so I'm going to ask you this question because I want to know whether I'm just maybe reading into things a little too much here or you're actually doing this, but it seemed to me you'll throw a high kick and then you'll take like 3 steps back. You'll throw maybe a flick a jab out there, throw a lead left hook or something, and then you'll take 2 steps back. Then you'll sort of back off to the cage without your opponent even pressing you. Is that true? Do you do that? Do you back off to the cage without your opponent pressing you just to get the fight there? Because we've seen once you get up against the cage, double underhooks, look for flying triangles, etc., flying arm bars.
Yeah, it's not just to get the fight there. Like it's just that's what happens. I don't know. They walk forward towards and you have to step back sometimes.
Okay. What else I noticed? Another one. This might be I'm reading into things here, but the triangle, obviously, it's your go-to move. It's your favourite submission. Is that correct? Though I don't want to say that without confirming it. Is that your favourite submission, the triangle?
Yeah. Well, I've got a few. Know what I mean? Jiu-jitsu's more than one move. It's all sorts of moves. I use triangles to work out the move. I didn't get me bottle of water.
Have you ever given up back control, basically seatbelt position, etc., just to lock in the triangle? Basically, go on your back and pull guard just to lock in the triangle, because halfway in transition onto your back, you basically lock up the triangle in mid-transition. Have you ever basically given up back control just to get a triangle in?
Well, yeah, I did, didn't I? So, yeah, I did.
Well, let's talk.
I do that sometimes, yeah.
Well, let's talk about your confidence
I like
here.
to go for adventurous stuff.
Because you said that you're the biggest prospect in the world right now in terms of MMA. I don't think I've really seen much confidence like this before, apart from Conor McGregor, basically. Where does the confidence come from there, Paddy? Is it in yourself? Is it something that's happened over time with you? Is it just you see your ability against other people?
Yeah, I believe in my own ability. I know what I mean. I know how good I am. I know how good I am, and everyone in the gym knows how good I am. Know what I mean? It's just other people haven't seen how good I am yet, so they don't believe it. Just like they did with Conor. Know what I mean? He believes in himself and the whole party. He's just the same as me. Come from nothing by us, just a regular kid. But he's I forgot where he came from.
Well, we'll talk about your confidence there. I was looking at your record. You've had 13 pro fights at the age of 21. If that doesn't speak confidence, I don't know what is, but I wanted to get your take on why you've had so many fights at such a young age. Is that down to your coaches, seeing that you're a good fighter and putting you in there more and more, keeping the momentum going? Is that something that you wanted to do?
Yeah, of course. When you're a fighter, you want to fight as much as possible. I had 9 amateur fights in the space of a year when I was a kid, know what I mean? So, from when I was 16 to 17, so I've always liked to fight as much as possible. I've always wanted to keep that into my pro game, and I did the first, know what I mean? I've had quite a few fights, but I'd still like to have more. Last year I only had 2. This year, this is my 3rd. I like to have at least 4 fights a year, you know what I mean?
Well, I was talking about Against the Cage before. When I was watching you early on in your career, you was more like every time they'll pulse back up and wall walk, you'll instantly look for the trip takedown or just get the bump and pull a single or double and get them down to the ground. But recently I've noticed as you got on in your career, you tend to turn your opponents away from the cage and look for trip takedowns, or so you'll get them in the centre of the cage, or you look to break off and strike and be really quite aggressive and reckless. Is that something you've added to your game Against the Cage over time?
Yeah, as I've got older, I've got more aggressive. That just comes with it. I think I've come on my shell a bit more when I fight. That's just because of the amount of sparring and the training I've done. I'm just getting better in every area, so everything's becoming much more evolved, much better. Know what I mean? Like, I think I am the best out there when it comes to mixing everything together.
Well, you see,
fully blown MMA.
Yeah, you see,
I'm a new breed of fighter.
You say your game's the best everywhere, but I've noticed that you're quite wild with your kicks. You tend to throw them out there, jumping around kicks, etc. You're not afraid to throw them. Is that because you are so good off your back? Is it the confidence off your back that, hey, I don't care about my back?
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter where I am. Like, they're just kicks I like to throw. I like to be exciting. I like people to enjoy watching my fights. So throwing kicks like that, it happens.
So what you're expecting from Johnny Frashier? Obviously, you thought I was saying that he was going to take you Against the Cage and take you down there and grind on you. What are you sort of expecting from him? Because there's not a whole lot you can do against you.
To be honest, I've been told he's a grappler, but I've only seen one of his fights, and he comes out and strikes in it, and then gets took down and submitted. So I don't know. It depends how I feel on the night. If I want, I'll toy with him on the feet and pepper him and TKO him. If I want, I'll take him down and I'll submit him. Depends how I feel on the night when I walk out.
Ashley Grimshaw, I want to talk about him for a second. He was apparently supposed to be your toughest test to date. You made a somewhat easy work of him. He had some good defence on the ground, but there's nothing that really troubled you in the fight. I think maybe he was close to an armbar, but really he didn't seem threatened. Have you really had a toughest test to date yet, Paddy? Or are you still awaiting that?
No, to be honest, I think you're right. I think I'm still waiting that toughest test to date. My toughest test to date was when I was 18 and I had my Cage Warriors debut. And it was basically me versus this 30-year-old fella fighting for the contract. Whoever won got the contract. Callum Florian, his name was.
It reminds me of something WWE.
Yeah, he's a wrestler. He was trained out of London Shoe Fighters. He was foreign, like he was big, know what I mean? And I was only dead small and skinny at the time. Didn't have nothing on me, not a pick of meat, know what I mean? And that was my toughest fight to date. It was the hottest day in London, and we fought in the Forum under the big lights and went all the way, know what I mean? In the third round, both of us were very tired. I remember it was a round apiece, and he took me down, and I had to sweep him, and I swept him, and then just stayed on his back for about 3 minutes and pounded till the end and got the win. That's my toughest test to date.
Do you plan on adding a little muscle as you get older? Obviously, I don't see you having any trouble in the wrestling right now. All your technique seems to do it all for you. But do you sort of feel like you need to put some muscle on in terms of your striking and punching power, etc.?
No, I'm a lot bigger now. Like I used to be small, but I'm a massive featherweight now. I can't see myself staying a featherweight for much longer, to be honest. Okay,
before we leave, is there a message for your fans, the listeners, the viewers, or maybe Johnny Frashier before we leave?
I'd like to thank all my fans and all my followers on my social media, know what I mean? They're a big part of it. You know what I mean? People message me and stuff and say, I can't believe you're messaging me back, but I've said it before, know what I mean? I'm just like them, I'm one of them, so I'm just doing something that I love, even though it's a lot of hard work and we deserve all the accolades we get and all the awards we get, because I've been doing this for 7 years and people are only just starting to sit up and take notice, know what I mean? But to all my fans, I love you all, know what I mean? You're brilliant. Can't beat you, seriously. I can't beat you.
Is there a set goal for you here, Paddy? Because you have come a long way in such a short space of time. Is there a set goal for you? Obviously, you're down to earth, you still speak to the fans, etc. Things have come very quickly for you. Is there an end goal to this? What is the end goal?
the end goal is become the best MMA fighter ever to walk the face of the earth.
Okay. Well, you can see the continuation of Paddy Pimblett's chance to become the best in the world. His desire to become the best in the world as he takes on Johnny Frachet at Cage Warriors 78. That takes place September 10th, 2016. You can catch that on BT Sports, I believe now. Is that right there, Paddy? It's on BT Sports now, isn't it, Cage Warriors?
Yeah, BT Sports 2
awesome
live.
Stuff. Yeah. UFC Fight Pass, you got that? I've got that. I'll be on UFC Fight Pass for that. So you can cheer Paddy on there. If not, you can head on down to the Echo Arena in Liverpool and show your support for Paddy there too. Paddy, thank you very much for coming on the show today.
Sam, you're welcome. You know that anytime. Just let me know.
Awesome, Paddy. I'll definitely speak to you again. I'm sure the fans will love to listen to you again on the show. Okay, from the Quick Fight Talk Show, Paddy Pimblett and myself. As always, guys, thank you for watching.